Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Karen. So we're still talking about viruses, right?
That's right. So last time we learned about viruses and how they can do some good things for us. So some of the good things that they do are things like produce oxygen. They help bacteria in the ocean to produce oxygen.
That's right. Then also help the cows make milk and cheese.
That's right. They help cows convert sugars within their stomachs to make things like milk and cheese.
So those are some of the good things that they can do for us. But I think a lot of people still think about viruses. They still think that, they can make you really, really sick. And it's true, I think in some cases. And we know that people can get diseases from viruses as well, right?
That's right. So some things like the common flu is a virus. What are some other viruses that make us sick?
For example, the dengue fever from mosquitoes, right?
That's right.
So we want to stay away from that, especially now it's the month of May, and there are a lot of mosquitoes around. So what can we do to prevent ourselves from getting dengue fever?
Oh, I know you need to prevent there being any sitting water around your house. So make sure there's no flower pots or empty things like that holding water where mosquitoes can lay their eggs.
And how about spraying yourself with mosquito repellent?
That's right, to keep the mosquitoes away, to stop them from giving you the virus.
Exactly. So viruses can really make us really sick in some cases, but it's also good to know that they do some good too, right?
It's nice to know that they're not all bad.
Exactly. So let's take a look at our part 2 of how viruses do good.
Scientists are already using some viruses to treat serious diseases. In your stomach, there is a kind of virus that infects and kills certain types of harmful bacteria. Scientists have been able to isolate these viruses and use them to treat a host of deadly illnesses. Such a treatment could be extremely valuable in the future because of the increase of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in recent years.
Today we're looking at part 2 of how viruses do good and that they are not all bad, right?
That's right. We've learned some really interesting things about the good things viruses can do for us.
And let's learn more. Scientists are already using some viruses to treat serious diseases. In your stomach, there is a kind of virus that infects and kills certain types of harmful bacteria. I didn't know that.
Neither
There's a
did
kind
I.
of virus in our stomach and we can live with it?
That's right, and that's because it kills harmful bacteria. And harmful is our next vocabulary word. It's an adjective. So harmful means that it does harm or that it hurts or does something bad to something else. So these bacteria that are harmful in our stomach are doing bad things to us. They're hurting us. So
That's
the
right.
virus is helping us. And for our example sentence, it's important to protect yourself from the sun's harmful rays.
Oh, that means the sun's rays can actually hurt us, right?
That's
so
right.
sun's harmful rays.
That's why it's important to wear sunscreen, because the sun's rays can be harmful.
You're definitely right. Okay.
All right, continuing on. Scientists have been able to isolate these viruses and use them to treat a host of deadly illnesses. Such a treatment could be extremely valuable in the future because of the increase of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in recent years.
Oh, I see. So isolate is actually our next vocabulary word, and that is a verb. When you isolate something, that means you're taking it out and apart from the other things. So, for example, scientists have isolated a substance found in certain mushrooms that can lower blood pressure. So basically they're taking the mushroom that they found, this special type, and they're taking that special thing out of it, and then this special thing can lower blood pressure. And another way where we would often see this word is when you are sick or when you are ill. You will want to isolate yourself. You want to stay away from the other people. You want to be by yourself so you don't infect other people, right?
That's right. It's important to isolate when you are ill just to keep your friends and coworkers safe.
Exactly.
So that brings us to our next vocabulary word, which is an adverb, extremely. Extremely means very, but it means really very, a very strong very.
Very,
so
very, 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 very.
That's right, it's extreme. So for our example sentence, Mr. Norris is an extremely generous person. So he's not just very generous, he's extremely generous.
He's like super generous.
Here's my house, here's my car, take all my money. He's extremely generous.
Or I could say Canada is extremely cold during the winter time, right?
That's right. So here people might just say, oh, today it's very cold outside. That means you can probably still go outside with a jacket on and be comfortable enough.
Exactly.
But in that example, if it's extremely cold,
it's probably like minus 20 degrees Celsius or minus 30 degrees Celsius, which we don't see in Taiwan.
Have you ever experienced minus 30 degrees Celsius?
Of course, I'm from Toronto. You're from Vancouver,
That's right. I have never experienced that kind of extremely cold weather.
Yes, it's very common in Toronto because in the wintertime, it lasts about maybe 4 to 5 months. And then we often get snowstorms and the weather, the temperature is extremely cold.
Wow, I don't think I could stand it.
I don't think I can stand it now either.
Well, that's why we moved to Taiwan.
That's right. Okay, let's take a short break and we will be right back.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们今天要继续来看病毒的益处、好处。好，科学家已经在用一些病毒来治疗严重的疾病，像在我们的胃里面有一种病毒，它会感染并且杀死某些类型的害菌。那科学家已经能够分离出这些病毒，并且用它们来治疗许多致命的疾病。由于近年来对抗生素有抗药性的细菌增加，那刚刚说到那样的治疗方式，在将来可能是非常有价值的哦。文中它用到 antibiotic resistant， 我们来学一下 antibiotic 是抗生素，然后搭配 resistant， 它是描述有抵抗力的，可以抗什么什么的，把它们组合成复合形容词，就可以表达可抵抗抗生素的，或者是说对抗生素它是有抗药性的。好，那我们再来看单字 harmful。harmful 是形容有害的，造成伤害的。isolate 它是表达使分离、使隔离或是使孤立的意思，是个动词。那么 extremely 这个副词表示极为怎么样，非常或者是极端的。老师们就聊到说，台湾的冷不是冷，那个加拿大的天气才是非常非常冷。Karen 老师以前在多伦多呢，也都有经历那种-20度的天气。我们要表达这个-20度，老师说这个 minus 20 degrees Celsius 就是摄氏-20度。我们来学一下 Celsius 这个字 ，Celsius， 它就是形容摄氏的。介华课文中。
Scientists have also begun developing and testing viruses that target and destroy cancer cells only. When a cancer patient is infected with this type of virus, the virus makes many copies of itself, overwhelming the cancer cells. As a result, the cancer cells burst, releasing more of the virus and triggering an immune response. More work needs to be done, but this research has the potential to transform how cancer is treated and save millions of lives a year. These are just a few examples of the good that viruses can do. They have the power to heal us, create food, and even give us the air we breathe. Now, if only the good viruses had the power to stop the bad ones.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're still learning a lot about some interesting facts about the viruses, right?
That's right, and we're learning how they can be used for medicine even. So let's learn more about that.
Okay, let's dive into it. Scientists have also begun developing and testing viruses that target and destroy cancer cells only. When a cancer patient is infected with this type of virus, the virus makes many copies of itself, overwhelming the cancer cells. This is fantastic. This is a great news because a lot of people suffer from cancer every single year.
That's right. Cancer is a very dangerous disease, so it's interesting to learn how we can use something that we think is quite scary usually, like viruses as a way to fight cancer.
If this is true, then I think that's great news for everybody.
So let's learn more about how they do that. As a result, the cancer cells burst, releasing more of the virus and triggering an immune response.
Because we all know that if somebody has cancer, the only method, well, not the only, but one of the treatment is actually quite harmful to the body, which is chemotherapy. If a patient is using chemotherapy or is under chemotherapy treatment, sometimes they will feel very, very weak, and maybe they lose their hair, and they make their, healthy cells very, very sick too, right?
That's right. So that brings us to our next vocabulary word, which is a response. So a response is a reaction to something, or how something answers or reacts to a different thing. In this case, we're actually talking about an immune response. So immune response means how our body reacts to something that is foreign, something from outside, usually something that's harmful, like a virus or a disease. So our example sentence, the workers' response to the unfair policy was to strike.
So that's the reaction of the workers, right? Okay. More work needs to be done. But this research has the potential to transform how cancer is treated and save millions of lives a year. Okay,
That's very interesting. So it has the potential. So what does that mean, Karen?
Potential means maybe it's actually a noun, and it's our next vocabulary word. Potential means the possibility or the capability of doing something. So for example, this new drug has the potential to save countless lives. So maybe it's not certain, but it has the possibility to make that happen.
That's right. So if this new treatment for cancer, if it works the way they plan it to work, it can save many people from cancer.
Exactly.
These are just a few examples of the good that viruses can do. They have the power to heal us, create food, and even give us the air we breathe. Now, if only the good viruses had the power to stop the bad ones.
And that would be wonderful. It would definitely make our world a wonderful place. We just take the good viruses and stop the bad ones, right?
That's right.
Okay, heal is our next vocabulary word. Heal is a verb. So heal basically just means to get better, to get healthy again, right? So in our example sentence, it says, my doctor gave me some medicine to heal the wound. Because maybe I have a wound and then it's hurt and then it's still bleeding, and the medicine will help me get better and become healthy again.
That's right. So it's interesting to learn that viruses can actually help to heal us. So what do you think, Karen? What else may seem harmful at first, but can actually be beneficial to humans?
Oh, you mean like the viruses, right? Before we would think that, oh, maybe they're not so good for us, they just make us sick. But actually, they're quite beneficial. That means they're actually good for us. Maybe, let me think. Bees? Right?
Bees.
What do you think?
Bees are scary. I don't like.
Well, bees, we
bees.
know that when we think of them, we feel like, oh, they can come and sting us, and it's just very, very scary. We don't want to go near them. But actually, they're quite beneficial to humans because they spread pollen, right? Haven't you ever watched the bee movie? They would spread pollen and help the flowers grow and reproduce, right?
Oh, I guess you're right. So without bees, we wouldn't have flowers and trees and plants all around us.
And that's very, very dangerous because if we don't have trees, we don't have flowers, we don't have plants, what ends up happening is that we will lose all the animals too. The animals will die. And then maybe we will die too. So we definitely need bees.
I also like honey, so.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They also make honey for us. So we learned so much about viruses. A lot of things that I didn't know.
That's right. It's great to learn that viruses are not only things that make us sick and not only things that we need to always be afraid of, because they can actually do some great things for us and help us to live lives the way we do.
Exactly. So next time, if you see maybe or hear the word virus, don't be scared. Maybe they're talking about, a good kind of virus, not the kind that makes you really, really sick or really, really ill, right?
That's right. So I hope all of us can only see the good kind of viruses from now on.
Exactly. Okay, and that's all the time we have for today. And we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
How's 好，那除了用一些病毒来治疗严重的疾病，科学家也开始开发并且测试只针对和破坏癌细胞的病毒。当癌症患者被这种病毒感染时，这个病毒呢就会制造出许多自己的复制品，进而去击败癌细胞。那结果呢，这个癌细胞它就会爆裂，释放出更多这种病毒，引发一种免疫反应。或许这样的研究呢，有可能会改变癌症的治疗方式哦，可以拯救许多人的性命。那说到癌症的治疗方式 ，Karen 老师说到这个 chemotherapy。CHEMO 搭配 therapy 这个字就表示化疗的意思。再看单字 response， 它是名词，表示回应、回复。那么 potential 它是名词，表示可能性或是潜力。老师这时候解释单词时有用到 capability 这个字 ，CAPABILITY capability 表示能力或是才能。那课文最后写到说，病毒有能力治愈我们，创造食物，甚至给我们呼吸的空气。现在啊，要是这些好的病毒有能力阻止坏的病毒就好了。好，单字 heal 就是治疗、治愈。然后这边用到一个重点，我们要进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 if only 的用法。If only 引导假设句是用来表达未能实现的愿望，而且带有那种遗憾的语气，就是表达说要是怎么样怎么样就好了。好，那么 if only 子句常常单独使用，它也可以搭配主要子句一起来用。举例来说 ，If only it would stop raining， 要是雨停就好了。或是你可以说 ，If only it would stop raining, we could go on a picnic。要是雨停就好了，那我们就可以去野餐了。好，那么以上是这个讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Scientists are already using some viruses to treat serious diseases. In your stomach, there is a kind of virus that infects and kills certain types of harmful bacteria. Scientists have been able to isolate these viruses and use them to treat a host of deadly illnesses. Such a treatment could be extremely valuable in the future because of the increase of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in recent years. Scientists have also begun developing and testing viruses that target and destroy cancer cells only. When a cancer patient is infected with this type of virus, the virus makes many copies of itself, overwhelming the cancer cells. As a result, the cancer cells burst, releasing more of the virus and triggering an immune response. More work needs to be done, but this research has the potential to transform how cancer is treated and save millions of lives a year. These are just a few examples of the good that viruses can do. They have the power to heal us, create food, and even give us the air we breathe. Now, if only the good viruses had the power to stop the bad ones.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen.
And I'm Jamie.
We're going to play a game called Word Drop, where each of us has 3 words or phrases on these cards that we haven't looked at yet.
We have not.
And we're going to try to work it into a conversation as casually as possible. So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
All right. So usually when you're in class, you are pretty much either going to be really excited to learn, or you're going to be like me, who is usually very tired and just wants to sleep in class. So usually when the teacher would be talking, I would have my head kind of like on the table, like looking at the teacher, but then whenever they weren't looking, I would like kind of fall asleep and hope they wouldn't look at me. But then sometimes they would like call on me and they would expect me to give them a response.
Oh, I hate when they do that, right? You always like pretend, you should pretend to like, be busy, and then they still call on you. That's the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah, but I do understand also sometimes, I was an okay student, I think, but I did sometimes get very tired in class, right? And I think partly because you have to stay up late doing homework, right? And partly like because you know, you didn't get enough sleep, maybe you didn't eat right, and then you just don't have a lot of energy, and the teacher's talking about stuff you might not understand. So it's very easy to get extremely bored.
Yes, and when you're talking about the night before, like when you have to like stay up late, it's actually really bad to stay up very late. When you're young, you think you're okay and you can stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning, and you get up at 7, like 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep. Like it's okay when you're young because you still have energy, but as you get older, it's really, really bad for you. So you should try not to have that habit when you're young and then continue until you're getting older. So you have to know staying up late is quite harmful.
It is harmful. And I think also part of staying up really late too is that it like messes kind of with your thinking. You know, you can't think right or like do anything properly. And I also think one thing that people should also get in the habit of is you should just make yourself go outside at least, I don't know, once a day maybe, just because I think it's very easy to not go outside, and it's very easy to isolate yourself.
Oh, wow. Yeah, when you're in isolation or just not going out, you don't have vitamin D, right? So it's actually better to go outside sometimes to get some of that vitamin D, and then, like I said earlier, sleep earlier so you can have more energy and more time to replenish a lot of your bodily, chemicals or whatever. So it's important because if you ever get injured, especially when you get older, you'll heal easier. You'll heal faster.
I think so too. I think also avoid doing things that are way too dangerous because you have the potential to get hurt.
Yeah, we should take care of our bodies.
We should.
See you next time.